Okay, folks, this is the pre-show to the real estate show combined of Mailrite and Timelines. And we're going to be doing today Chris Baggett, who will be from LifterLMS. He's going to be, we'll start the show. I will go back and do post-production, so we'll probably start right into it. I will make a quick announcement for today's show the best I can. I've been doing too many shows here, but should be a good show, and we're going to see how it goes. So here we go. Welcome to the Mailrite Real Estate Show and Timelines, episode 218-39. And today is Thursday, February 25th, and it's morning, and we have a guest, Chris Baggett, who is Badgett. Did I say Badgett? I usually said it. Look, break for a second. And today we have Chris Baggett, and he's coming to us from the LA Basin area, I think close to Sunset Strip, if I'm correct, or Azusa, somewhere in there.
That's where our company is, but I'm actually in Northwest Montana right now.
Wow. I like that even better. That's nice. So he's coming from Northwest Montana. You learn something new all the time. And this is really interesting because it's all about real estate today and Chris's timeline, but we're going to be talking about learning management systems, which is something I've been working on for a year now. And how can a real estate agent use that? So without further ado, Jonathan, for the next 10 minutes, I'll let you dive in and see what you can find out about learning management systems with Chris.
Bill, aren't you going to introduce our other guest as well?
Okay, hold a second. We want to break him in. I'm going to pause this and start over. Let's pause for a second.
You're killing me, Smalls. I think I just went to chop liver status.
I didn't know we were going to. Sometimes we just another thing.
Badgett.
I got Badgett down. I usually have the person say their name a few times too. Sometimes you say Chris. Hey, we got Chris. Here we go. So welcome to the Mailrite Real Estate Show by Timelines, episode 218-38. Today's show is recorded on February 25th, 2016. That's a Thursday. And we've got Chris Baggett from Montana, representing LifterLMS, Learning Management Systems. We got Greg McDaniel coming to us from the East Bay side with his expertise in real estate. Jonathan Denwood, of course, from Mailrite, the tech side, and myself, Bill Conrad, coming with you from Reno, Nevada, with 25 years of real estate brokerage experience and also construction and management. Well, without further ado, Jonathan, go ahead on the tech side because the first 10 minutes is all going to be about the tech side and sort of the bits and pieces of what we're doing here. And one thing, just a thought ahead of time, there really is a lot to understand to do what you're about to do and for agents to do what they want to do with understanding the website, creating online content. But if you do it, I know it will pay off. So go ahead.
Oh, thanks, Chris, for agreeing to come on the show. We've been looking forward to it. Let's get down to it, Chris. Why are real estate agents so terrible when it comes to online technology?
Oh, great question.
Give us the global insight.
Let me tell you a brief backstory of how I found out they were so terrible. And what I mean by that is I got into technology and real estate because of my own problems. So this is going to sound like a wild journey, but for a long time I was in Alaska and I ran sled dogs up there and I managed a tour business on a glacier, a couple hundred sled dogs, 30 employees. I did that for quite some time. I bought some land up there that I needed to sell, and I started figuring out how to use the internet, created some video marketing. I was one of the early Google video paid traffic, like Google AdWords type thing when it was back when it was a couple pennies a click. And I started getting amazing results just by leveraging these tools. And I would hire real estate agents to help me sell that property. Later, I had other property that I would rent. And I quickly found out that my very basic skills in technology and my desire to learn and understand marketing, because I had, business problems, I had sales I needed to make, it made me extremely effective, even with just really basic technology. And I've just been continuing to move forward with that. And what's happening now with real estate is the buyers obviously changed significantly. They're doing a lot of their own research. They're driving around. They're doing their kind of self-showings. So the role of the real estate professional has actually changed substantially. And it's become so efficient with the internet and Zillow and everything else that you need to command a broad area. You need to leverage yourself. You need to duplicate yourself. You need to attract leads through automation and video marketing and things like that. So that's why real estate agents suck, I guess, are the ones. We're in a period where the market is dividing, and unfortunately a lot of people are going to fail and not be successful because they're not embracing the technology tools, and even just a basic use of them can bring huge results. And I think the biggest reason people fail when they do start embracing that stuff is they overcomplicate it, or they think that, okay, I'm on Twitter now, it's good. You got to have a strategy and a plan of how you're going to leverage those tools. So without the plan, the tools are useless.
Yeah. Craig, would you like to ask Chris a follow-through question?
No, I've been reading up on your product, Chris. It seems incredibly intuitive, and it seems like you've done what a lot of people need to have done. You've taken big buttons and colors, and you've plugged it in for agents just to plug and play, right? And from my understanding, it's a CRM, customer management system, if I'm not mistaken. And from my brief knowledge, what else can this do? Because I'm actually very interested in this for multiple different reasons after learning about it.
Well, LifterLMS, you could use it as a CRM. It's more of an LMS or learning management system. But where the real opportunity is we all know as real estate agents, we need to have a website. We need to get our IDX data feed in there. We need to create content, whether that's video, blog posts, and things. Mm-hmm. But the way I like to describe the opportunity is that we're moving away from the information age. Like, there's just too much information. People are inundated. Attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. Mm-hmm. So it's no longer about cranking out a blog post for each neighborhood in your market or whatever. We're now entering the age of curation. So you need to actually take all this noise out there and make sense of it to make the experience for the buyer even better, or the seller. And so what I mean by that is LifterLMS is a learning management system, which means you can create and sell online courses. But if your primary goal is to get leads, you're not creating courses to sell. You're creating them to position yourself as an expert in your market, whether that's commercial, high density, average residential, whatever it is. And you can have courses on the buy side and on the sales side. So you could have a first-time buyers course. You could have a for sale by owner course. You could have a how to maximize your real estate property for maximum resale value course. Things to add value to the marketplace, which is going to position you as a leader. And as we all know, when you help a for sale by owner person, especially a first timer, and they realize how complex and complicated the real estate landscape actually is, who are they going to pick to represent them once they were like, oh, I don't have time for this? I'm going to pick the guy that helped educate me and help show me how to do it on my own. It builds trust and that sort of thing. And over at lifterlms.com/real estate, we have a download where you can get more courses that you could create as a real estate professional, just as ideas to help grow your leads. And of course, one of the biggest things about it is once you create these courses, they're indefinitely, you've duplicated yourself over and over again so that people can come into your sales funnel or your sales process and just do that over and over without you having to do anything else.
Yeah, the other thing I thought Craig would be an excellent co-guest, Chris, is that Craig's a trainer. He actually trains in his brokerage and also trains other agents nationwide. And I thought this would be of great interest to him in producing better quality materials and making it easier for him. So I thought he would be really interested in talking to you and hearing about the product.
I am, believe me.
Yeah, I would just add that you can sell courses, you can use them for marketing, but you can also use them for your own company's internal training, or whether that's for sale or that's part of your onboarding your employees.
I just did your download. I'm going to get started on that. So for the folks that are using Lifter LMS, how are they getting the word out about it? Are they doing the traditional funnels of like online ads, pay-per-click, social media, word of mouth? What are they doing, or is it built into your programmer system?
I mean, it's designed to lock it down and protect the content. In most cases, you may do internal training. You don't want other people to find it, other companies. So there's like a, protection element. That being said, you can make some lessons free, which then is going to become a piece of content that people find. What I often recommend is to, if you have a 10 lesson course, make your 2 of your best lessons free. Lifter has a setting to make it free, so someone can come and look at that one kind of to get a free sample. Mm-hmm. But then you want to take that free lesson content and put it everywhere. You want to go to YouTube, you want to go to social media, you want to go to forums, and just add value in the traditional way of like getting it out there to as many places as possible. You can also, what I recommend doing is, if you're going to have lots of courses, make an entirely free course where someone still has to register and create an account. So they're in your CRM so that you can market to them later or whatever. But that way the course itself becomes a free, it's like the next level from having a free ebook. It's like actually having a curated high value course for free.
Interesting. Now, can you upload? I have a podcast I want to talk to you about later, but let's say I like one of my podcasts that is talked about a specific subject matter. Can I upload into the system, or do you have to record into it?
It's powered by WordPress, so as long as you can put it in a post, you're good. So for audio and video, what a lot of people do is they use Vimeo Pro or Wistia for video content, or something like SoundCloud or Lisbon or whatever.
Okay, we're in Lisbon, yeah.
Okay, so you can put that in the lesson content, and we're always big fans of like multimedia. So if you can have the video, an audio, some text, maybe a downloadable PDF in the lesson, you're kind of hitting all the learning styles there. But a lot of people do just video or just audio.
Yeah. So what I think you're saying, Chris, before we go to our break, is that what I think the overall statement you're making is the days of just doing a post or just writing some content or doing a video and pushing it through email or putting it on YouTube, that's still great. But because there's so much of that content that we've got to move forward a bit, and you've got to add even more value, and you've got to have a platform that makes that as easy as possible. Am I correct in that overall?
Yeah, you want to add that value. You want to curate. You want to be highly curated and basically send the message almost subconsciously that this is, don't waste your time. This is like a well put together to get you from A to B, whatever A to B is. It's not like general post like 10 tips on how to, prepare your house for staging or something.
Yeah, that's great. Shall we go to our break, Bill?
Sure, that's great. Love to go to that break. Okay, Chris, we're coming back off the break, and this is the business part. I can ask you really quick and then about your life and success principles, because I know we want to get back to some of this core information about Lifter LMS. So the first thing is, a morning ritual is a key to success. That was your first point. A morning ritual is key to success.
Absolutely. Yeah, I bite off. I have big goals, a lot to accomplish, both personally and professionally. I'm a family guy. I'm a dad. I'm an entrepreneur, and I take care of my fitness and my health and that kind of thing. So I have an 1.5-hour morning ritual that I've been refining for the past 6 years. That has literally, it's at least 5 to 10 times more. I'm more productive after having made that space.
Go into more detail. What is morning ritual?
Just fire it off. It starts with a glass of water. Then this goes with some fruit. I listen to a non-business related podcast to get my brain woken up. Some people say to read, but for me personally, I like to do that. I go for like a half-mile walk. This all starts at 6 a.m. I'm not crazy. I'm not doing 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., but it's 6 a.m. When I get back from that, I do some 10-minute yoga routine. I do my own personal hygiene, shower, all that kind of stuff. And then I I meditate for 5 minutes. I actually use a meditation app. And after that, I do the 5-minute journal, if you've heard of that, which is 3 things that make your day great, 3 things I'm grateful for, and then my affirmation. And then after that, I actually do a 5-minute visualization exercise that I invented. And then I rock into an hour of, that's the morning routine. Immediately after that, I go into an hour of work time where I'm not distractible, focused on my top 3 priorities.
So everyone talks about their morning routine. What's your evening or night routine? I'm
actually just now starting to install that. But for me, I'm trying to keep it really short. It's a 15-minute kind of wind down. Because like a lot of people who are driven or entrepreneurs, it's hard to turn the brain off. And I do have an issue with that. And I do want to share a success that recently, since New Year's, I gave up coffee. And that's definitely helped my sleep. And that kind of
you
thing.
Gave up coffee?
I'll drink to that.
Oh, no.
I still have it like once a week as a treat or whatever, but it's not like, 6
I gave it up once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've quit several times.
That's good. That night
per day.
Yeah. I quit coffee every afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends what time of day.
Chris,
I guess that's part of
your morning routine is very similar to mine. You get up early. You and I'm in the gym at 6, at 5. My body wakes me up at like 4:30. I have to sit there and suffer through an hour just laying there. But get up, get some exercise, get home, clean up, do a meditation or and then the visualization routines. Those are so powerful. People don't understand how powerful those are. I mean, it clears your brain in the writing aspect of it, which I am willfully, neglecting right now, unfortunately. But it is one of those things that if and when you get into these routines, like you have seen massive transformations, it sounds like in your life, people think it's all foo-foo and crystals and all this other bullshit BS. Whoops, that was close. It's not. It's 100% it's a necessity to get where you want to go because you're crystal clear on your goals. You visualize you attaining them. Therefore, your subconscious mind gets in the driver's seat versus your conscious mind, and you're off to the races. Kudos to you, my friend. You are going to attain everything you want. I am super pumped to see your success.
Very good.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it compounds. Like you don't notice the benefit on day one, although day one feels great. But after you've done months and years of this kind of thing, it's amazing how it just keeps building on itself.
And it can take weeks or months. It does not have to take a long time. If you literally feel the positive energies out into the universe, and not to get all weird on about it, but it's true. You have to feel the gratitude, right?
Yeah.
You feel the gratitude. You see what you want, attaining it, and you speak to it. And the first person, not in the future, it's like the universe. You have a piece of paper, and they just bend the pieces together, and all of a sudden you're there. I talked to a guy on my podcast, and he instead of visualizing his goals once a day, he took a photo of them on his phone, and then every hour he has an alarm that goes off, and he rereads his goals every hour. And he says the time frame was ridiculous from like goal to attaining goal. It was awesome.
I believe it. Yeah, it's powerful stuff.
It's cool, man. That's super cool.
Okay, number 2 is leadership teams are exponentially more powerful. Leadership teams are exponentially more powerful. Yeah,
that's a good one. I became a leader later in life. I mean, mostly through outdoor stuff. Like I'm a mountaineering guy. Like I climb big ice mountains and rock climbing and, hiking and expeditions and things like that. That was my background and how I got into leadership. And later that came into business for me with, like I mentioned, I managed a tour company in Alaska for quite a while. I also, when I managed that, I developed the skill of working with a management team. It's just 2 or 3 people, depending upon the year. So I learned how to work together in a leadership role as a team. As a quick side note, also, I'm training sled dogs. So I see the animal psychology in the way that, there's like lead dogs and, there's leadership within a team of animals that in a way that like you would only be aware of if you work with like packs of animals. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of like stuff that's just always fascinated me about leadership. And also a lot of, I've always been okay with not having to be like the top, or it's okay to share that responsibility. And I think one of my unique gifts is it's one of the reasons we created LifterLMS is I look around and I see inside of people all this opportunity and potential that's very different person to person of some kind of thing they could share with the world that would benefit other people who are on some kind of journey. It's just one of the things I have. And that's why we created a tool for people to make courses, because it's no longer like you have to go to the college or the expensive university or go into debt to learn things. You know, you can, anybody can become a teacher, anybody can become a student. But at the end of the day, with that, my current business with LifterLMS, I have a CTO, a technical business partner. I'm not a developer. I used to think I was, but I'm actually more of like a product guy, a marketing guy. And then I partnered with our other partner, CEO, Joshua, is an amazing sales guy, relationship builder. And the three of us, when we come together, not to mention the other leadership in our team, like with our lead developer and other project manager and things, just sharing that has been super powerful. And there's a quote that I'd like to end my talk on here. Is just that just because you're on the train doesn't mean you have to carry the luggage. So it's okay to share responsibility with other people, and also just be really aware of your strengths and weaknesses. And I'm a big believer in focusing more on your strengths than trying to fix your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm. So this is for the listener out there. Hold 1 second. Okay, Chris, your last point was remember that everyone is quietly fighting their own inner battles.
Yeah, I think that's just like, it's like a humility thing. It's a respect thing for just everybody out there in the world that, you know, we all kind of have a front, or, you know, when we go out in the public, you know, we put on the show or whatever, but everybody out there is, you know, has issues they're dealing with. It could be emotional, it could be physical, it could be health related. And I think when you become aware of that vulnerability in other people, it brings out the humanity in all of us, and we do better things in life. And, you know, in the context of relationships, whether it's for like real estate sales or growing a world-class organization or real estate company, or creating, you know, writing a book or creating courses or whatever, when you're open to that vulnerability, you're able to walk in the world with more respect, humility, and just humanity.
Very good. Hey, this is the end of your questions, but you really generated a lot of questions I wanted to ask you in the YouTube portion, which is really more open, more free. And so for the folks out there listening, they can go over to timelinesofsuccess.com or mail-right.com, and they can pick up the YouTube portions of this, which will probably go on for another half an hour. And it's kind of fun, free flowing. But when we come back, we're going to finish going to the break now. And we're going to ask you one last question, let you give a little commercial, and we'll let the listeners know how they can find you. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, we're coming back off the break. We're going to finish up with Chris. How can the listener get a hold of you? Then Jonathan has got one last question. We also, Chris, if you want to give one last little commercial too for LifterLMS.
Sure.
All right.
Go ahead.
Would you let him do his? Let's start again.
Yeah, sure.
Let him answer. How can the listeners get a hold of you? Your quick commercial, and then say one last question, because the last question is at the end. So here we go. Okay, coming back off the break, Chris, how can the listener find you and get a hold of you? And give us one last commercial for LifterLMS.
Yeah, you can find me at LifterLMS.com. There's a contact form over there if you want to send a message. And also we've got a special page for real estate brokerage owners, because I know it may sound like, oh, well, how do online courses help me actually grow my business? I think if you go to LifterLMS.com/real estate, and download our PDF there, you're going to get you'll start seeing how creating courses can help grow your business.
Very good. So Jonathan, one last question.
Yeah, it's very linked to what you just said, Chris. So basically, I've observed a lot of training. You know, let's say you got a brokerage, let's say it's got about 100 to 200 agents, and it's got a full-time training officer, manager, success manager. how would that individual, rather than just cobbling like PowerPoints, videos, paper, PDFs, how by utilizing your system can they really get more benefit and get better training outcomes?
Well, there's two things. Like Craig mentioned, one way is to train your internal team, your onboarding, people who are joining your company. They have a brand to represent. You have a lot of wisdom in your team. And I would actually encourage people to not just have the owner, but have the seasoned people in there with their various specialties create video training and PDF resources and documents, audio files that agents can listen to as they're driving around, and put it together. The most important thing with training is there's a lot of bad training out in the world. So the way, think about it before you start creating content, of having a starting point of like the brand new agent to set them up for success, so that you as the owner wins, the agent wins, and then the customer, this is the most important thing, the customer that agent is going to be serving wins. So it's creating that internal training with LifterLMS is a super easy way to do it. You can create your video, your audio files, and package that inside individual courses. I would just encourage people to think about not just having it be a traditional membership site where you dump a bunch of good ideas in there, but actually create courses that are designed to have a clear starting point and a clear promise of, how to properly put something into MLS, how to, do your marketing, different marketing efforts, how to build a CRM follow-up system, all those kinds of things. And then, of course, for the public, I would encourage a company with 100 people to start creating courses, that are branded to that company, that educates the real estate market on the buy side and the sales side, or whatever your niche is, so that you can start positioning yourself as the expert in a particular geography that you serve.
Oh, it sounds great. Thanks, Craig. Chris, sorry. It's been a great, insightful episode. Folks, we're going to continue the discussion on YouTube. So if you want to hear more from Chris and his amazing product, and from Craig with his great insights, go on to our YouTube channel, and there'll be extra content and a deeper part of the discussion.
Okay, we'll stay up on YouTube. Really good show. Even though I'll do a lot of editing, the podcast is going to come out really well as long as I tune my sound. Everyone had good sound. Hey, Greg, we're screwing up all names, not Craig, Greg, Chris. Well, sometimes I take those out and then the podcast, but I am really, really excited about what you're doing here. And for 2 years, I came from the traditional world and traditional real estate company and a building company, went off to war, and then I watched my wife change things a little bit. And she did pretty well, but came back and was going to restart an office. And I was looking 3 years ago at the Microsoft, looking like an Apple store.
Yeah.
But then my wife didn't want to spend the money and didn't want to start up here because I want to recruit agents. We moved from California here. She walked away from a lot of money in a company because we wanted to do something completely different in our lives. We were locked down in Central California, which Greg knows Central California. It's okay, but it's not paradise.
Mm-mm.
But this is really good. I think your platform, what you're doing, because you went that freemium to get them going, you might just take off and do well. Because we've been looking for the last 3 months at learning management systems, and we had a series, didn't we, with Kim? It's too bad Kim. I should have sent off an email today with Kim.
Well, it's a bit difficult, but hopefully, hopefully.
One last thing, Chris Lemma looks like he's really written you up positive.
Yeah.
Like I was going to say, Bill, hopefully Kim will be able to join us when Chris comes back for the WP show. So that should be quite... So, Craig, basically, would you agree with what I'm just about to say? Do you think, you get a lot of agents that really complain about the quality of training which they receive from the brokerage, and then you get a lot of principals of brokerages that say that a lot of their agents are useless, not very motivated and lazy. So there's a lot of back and forth. Do you think using Chris' product and having a kind of central depository of quality training, which agents can access at any time, and have that build up and be consistent would help the situation.
Of course. I mean, it all comes down to the human factor, though. I mean, the system can work just fine, but if the human element doesn't work, if they're as boring as cardboard on a rainy day, then you know what? The training's still going to suck. But the platform sounds really good, Chris. I think that what you guys are doing, and I'm really interested. I want to get your contact information. Type your phone number into the sidebar here. So I'm going to give you a holler offline. I want to dive deeper and understand more, and really kind of go deeper on it, because it's funny, but the fact of the matter is that people are looking for this. And my brokerage, I'm a very interactive, vibrant trainer. I'm very much not the normal person, and I think that that's what people are looking for. They're looking to find someone that is off the wall a little bit. And if you can package it correctly and put it into somewhere where they can find it and they bite-sized pieces of it, rock star, knock out of the park, awesomeness. So I'm personally interested.
Yeah, I just want to add that what you're bringing up is the key, and we see that we have clients, like we do custom LMS builds too, and we have clients in the real estate training space, and the ones and in a lot of different niches, but if you have that personality and you also have an appreciation for like minimalism and condensing it down to like the key fundamentals, not trying to pack too much in or spraying too much, you can create some really good stuff. I mean, I remember when I was a new real estate agent, I was just hungry for the books. I mean, everybody goes out and they buys like the Keller Williams Millionaire Real Estate book, right? Is it on the shelf back there?
Yeah, it's on the shelf
right now.
But there you go. But why not? That's what I'm saying. This is the democratization of education in the digital classroom. One of the reasons we've gone free is anybody like you, Craig, can create training and bring your personality, and you can keep it on an intranet or just for your company, or you can go worldwide and sell it as a product or whatever, or both. So
100%.
Yeah, just to finish, folks, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go now. I've got an appointment in Reno. But I leave you, Chris, in the capable hands of Bill and Craig. Hey, Craig, are we going to have this chat this afternoon or tomorrow, or are you flaking me off completely?
Oh, give me a break. Quit busting my balls. Goodness gracious.
All right. You see, he's a bit of a grumpy mood today, isn't he? You've had a bad week, Craig.
It's been a long week, my friend.
I can tell. He's not normally his bright self, but there we go. See you later, folks.
Bye, Jonathan.
Wow. To say, I'll touch bases with him. Now he's gone. Hi, Jonathan, you're gone. So anyway, I was going to see what he's up to. I got to talk to him. I just did launch the podcasting. I wrote a course. It's not up about why you shouldn't podcast.
That's cool.
Why you shouldn't go spend $1,500 to learn how to podcast. It's 1,000 to 15 from the top guys, and it's good. They're teaching a lot of good stuff. But I'll tell you what, as you're professional in business now, you do better learning management systems in a podcast, because if you do some research, I've interviewed a lot of folks. In fact, my interview yesterday was Centrino, who had done a lot of YouTube work, and he's exploding because of YouTube. And it's a free platform, really, to get your stuff up, so you can make a little training. But I do believe in podcasting. I just don't think it should be the first thing you do.
It's hard to build a business around podcasting.
You need to learn how to build understand WordPress or some kind of website platform, and then understand the marketing principles. And if you're a brokerage now, you've got to understand those things. I think your top client right now are brokerages across the United States on this niche, not the agents so much, but the brokerages, because you really need to hire a trainer at a bigger brokerage, somebody just a technical trainer doing this work.
Well, the other thing is that, Chris, you guys obviously know your business. A lot of the folks that I train, like one of the reasons I'm a little bit on the more grumpy side is because right before I got on to this call I had a 40-minute call with a younger agent that I've been for 2 years browbeating on what to go do. And today I just lost it. I was just like, dude, you've got to, well, I will talk with you also what I actually said offline, but I basically said, you know what, you got to either make it happen or don't, because you're going to die on the vine if you don't get moving. With this platform, I see, like what Bill was saying, I see the opportunity that a brokerage can go in and get their top agents, interview them on specific attributes and skills that they have, and build a multi-channel training program that is not housed just with one individual, but the entire brokerage of all their top agents.
Yeah.
So they learn from the best in every subject matter.
And with a learning management system or whatever, you can actually look at your, like, who's taking it, like where they're at in the material. So if that agent who you were talking to on the phone, you're like, oh, well, you're still started lesson 1 of this course, but you didn't do anything else. Like, finish your training, you know?
Yeah, like actually don't be an agent. Actually finish something that you start. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's really cool, man. I look forward to chatting with you and talking about potentially how we can utilize this maybe here in our brokerage and for our training, because I've been looking for something like this, dude.
Hey,
Awesome.
Kim just showed up. Kim spoke at WordCamp US about learning management systems. So I've been trying to get her to review this one I sent this to her for like 6 or 7 weeks ago. And now when it became a freemium model, it's easy to review, you know, the initial setup.
Yeah.
And then Chris's little article. So she's working, she is a trainer developing it. And it really is a future area. I think it's fascinating. Hey, but I got some questions. One thing is, remember I talked about everything there is to learn. First of all, I want to ask you, how did you get involved with Lifter, and how many people are involved with it? I'm trying to put all the pieces together. What's the background of the company? Who's the tech guys? How did it come about? I mean, you come from the mountains. And by the way, little side note, when I was young, I was in 10th Special Forces as a mountain special forces soldier.
Okay.
And mountaineering, skis, been to Alaska many a time, and, you know, climbed peaks, done some crazy thing, climbed the Alps.
Right.
So
That's
a lot of
awesome.
stuff I love being outdoors and doing this. I still do. That's why I live in Reno. You know,
Okay.
I can go out my back door and start hiking.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, a little backstory of the company. What's made me different in the WordPress and the learning management system and the marketing space and all these things is that I've always come at it. I use those tools to solve business problems, and often they're problems that I've had myself. And I'm chasing solving the problem more than I'm chasing the money, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But I started my own, after I left Alaska, I started my own web development company simply because I was really passionate about, I got this success in the real estate market of like building websites to sell property. Then I had subdivisions approaching me where in my market be like, hey, can you build a website for my subdivision? And then I started charging for my website services. And I like working with real estate professionals because they understand marketing, which is important when you're building a website. It's not always just about design. More importantly, it's about getting some kind of marketing or business result. So I've always enjoyed that. And then over time, then my web development company grew and grew. And then I found my 2 business partners, Thomas and Joshua, and we ended up merging our 2 companies together, which is technically called CodeBox. That's the company that makes LifterLMS.
Yeah.
And then we did client services. And like I mentioned, we have clients all over the world. We started focusing really on the learning management system niche. I actually wrote a blog post about it in 2013. I got so much interest in my post about how I was selling online courses that it made me realize how much demand there was. And this is a short side note. I'm always scratching my own itch. My wife's a big organic gardener, agriculture person. So we build gardening courses. I spent a winter in Costa Rica filming.
I think I've seen some of those, actually, in Costa Rica.
Yeah. Some gardening courses with some like world-renowned experts. Yep. And that's a side business we have that makes money, and not particular online course business is passive income, but that's how it all just slowly evolved. So at CodeBox, we started, which we're now 17 people. We wanted to make our own product, and we decided to go with the learning management system. More than that, like the online course space. And so then we've just been into that for the past couple of years. And just recently we decided to make it free because we realized, number one, that there's a lot of people all over the world who can't afford to teach online. So that, we wanted to still give them the tool, and we make plenty of money with we have a couple extensions, like to accept credit cards on the site. And also we have a done for you setup service. So if someone comes and they're not technical or have never heard of WordPress and they're like, I want online courses, we have a service where we set it all up and provide training.
You do a lot of training. I know that. I know.
Yeah.
Ron,
so that's
great.
Yeah. So that's like, it's just the business models have changed, but the cash flow hasn't really. Our email list is growing exponentially, and more people are going to some of our paid offerings. So that's the whole story of like how we got there.
I get calls from vendors, different vendors, because I've been really looking at them for about 2 or 3 months, really doing a study. And I had a vendor call yesterday. I can't remember the name. I should talk to them. They called a couple times. Nice. And I talked to them. I said, you guys at $300 a month, I just can't afford that to get that up and going. In fact, I'm really looking closely at LifterLMS because, it's a great entry starting point. And then he told me, yeah, we're really looking at our pricing model. And
that's interesting.
I'll try to find it. I'll try to find who it was because I keep notes.
Right. Yeah, and that's the other thing is we're looking at the industry and the problems people have. Like they don't want to pay like $300 a month for some hosted solution.
Yeah.
So like it's very intentional that we kept it in WordPress, which is extendable, and then also we're making the barrier to entry low. Like I said, like there's a lot of people out there with something to teach. We didn't want price to be part of the issue. And we could still build a viable business.
There's other ways to make money around it too. You charge for like, I wrote some notes here. I have Infusionsoft, unfortunately, but for Stripes, you charge like $100 integration. Now, before you get there, do you have to have your premium service, your support service, and then you pay the $100 on your price?
You don't actually. Like if you buy Stripe, you would then also get access to the more premium support. We do provide free support on the WordPress forums where the free plugins are. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people, they also just buy the pro version. We have live office hours, which nobody else does in our industry. We're not hiding behind our website. So if somebody wants to come talk to me more about like functionality or talk to a developer about a problem they're having, they can actually do that live. So
here's another thing too, is you do a course that's about $1,000 to really train up people and go into in depth. And Ron Wilder, who is a genius in my book, he's just crazy sometimes, but he's from Silicon Valley, lives here in Reno on the backside of the hill, sort of like me, wanted to get away from the valley.
Yeah.
And he called me one day and he said, Bill, quick, fill out this form for LifterLMS, this course. I didn't have time. I said, I'd put a couple words down. And
that's called, what we're talking about, we call that Course Clinic.
And he got accepted.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And then they asked me one more set of questions. And I put like one word answers. I think it was Josh. And he said, I'm sorry we didn't. And I said, okay. I said, I'm just too busy producing a podcast every day and building a business. So I thank you very much. And I went on, but he's in the course and he says nothing but positive on it. And he's done a lot of courses. He's spent a lot of money in training and he makes pretty good money. He's a Berkeley grad, electrical engineering, made great money in the Bay Area, but he's actually has a multi-level oils business, which he knocks it out of the park.
Right.
But his passion is online digital marketing and all sorts of other things. So it's really weird.
And that's actually, I just want to say that's where the real opportunity is. If you combine two things that seem unrelated, like essential oils and internet marketing or real estate and video or something, like there's a lot of really cool sweet spots that, there's a market in this, especially if you access the global market for all kinds of interesting niches that, Barnes and Noble or universities, they can only stock so many courses or books, but the internet, I mean, there's no end, I'm sure you could do a course on like model train repair and there's a market for that. But you're not going to find that at a community college or a university.
Well, I just made how to get Blab certified I dropped it in earlier. Did you see it?
Yeah.
As a spoof. I've done 3 different places A/B testing that. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. Like courses about how to use tools is like awesome.
Well, you got how to use tools like ScreenFlow, things like that.
I don't. I'm just saying that's a good niche. Like, one of the best sellers on Udemy, which is a hosted platform, is like
the competition
course. you know, there's like a millionaire who made like a course on how to use Excel.
How to use Excel?
Yeah.
Really?
So, or like
think about somebody going out and producing a Udemy course first, or the path. What is the path? Let's say you got a real estate agent, somewhat successful, 10, 15 transactions a year, and they're really busy, but they're pretty good on online towards what to do with their computer business. I mean, doing listings, things of that nature. But to go to where you're going to start learning, you got to learn WordPress first to some extent.
Yeah, I would say like the key to getting started is, I don't know how to say it, like the best way I say it is just make something. So I would challenge somebody, because a lot of people start and then don't finish.
Make a screen. That's what I'm talking about podcasting too. There's no reason to jump right into podcasting. Do some other smaller stuff to build up to it.
Yeah, and the places where people get derailed are technology. So that could be video or audio quality, while important.
Right.
I would recommend if somebody's just getting started, I mean, we do have that done-for-you setup service we call Boost, so that can take technology out, or just do it yourself. Find somebody who understands WordPress, set up a website, use your iPhone to record video of yourself about whatever the course is, and that's your first course. Just get it out there so that you have the experience, you get one under your belt.
Even the pros can use iPhone set up right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the iPhone these days are phenomenal.
Yeah. I would tell. That's why I stuck with Blab. I tried to go back into Blab from Call Recorder to simplify this process for people, because Blab is so much easier in Call Recorder and Skype, even though Skype is beautiful. But the iPhone, you can do spectacular work with iPhone. I got the iPhone 6S. And you don't need another platform. Just learn to use that.
Right. And if you need like help editing video, I mean, you can do it yourself, or you can have somebody on Upwork or whatever.
What do you think about ScreenFlow? Some of the other
I love ScreenFlow. I use a combination of ScreenFlow and iMovie, depending on what I'm working on. I've never actually made the jump to Final Cut. I've never had to.
I've got all the Adobe Suite products, and you just said something that I've heard over and over from successful people. We've been studying this now for a few months, and 2 years I've been working on this online project. But you just said the top two products to use. The simplicity. If people are successful, use the use three. You use the iPhone, you're using ScreenFlow, and you're using iMovie. We'll call it a day. Yeah. So, hey, how do you think you could use this in politics?
How could you use courses in politics?
Yeah, you could train up your volunteers.
Yeah, you could, like internal training. I mean, you could educate the public on issues. There's like great documentaries about whatever is going on in the financial markets or real estate loan markets where they're hard to approach. Like, oh, it's an hour and 50-minute movie. But if you could create courses around like issues that you're passionate about, I mean, that's a big opportunity. Remember, the key word here is curation. Like, curate it, make it easy, like take away the noise and help people make sense of whatever it is. That's the key.
On the curation, one thing I love about this new online platform of learning, as opposed to pulling out a book and a PDF checklist, if you have a checklist and then quick examples of how to do those, you learn so much faster.
Yeah, and that's it's the multimedia learning styles or whatever. So like a good lesson is, some people learn by video, some people learn by doing, some people learn through repetition, and the biggest mistake we can make as a teacher, for me personally, I love video, but I have other friends who they can't stand it, or it's too slow. They just want to see a transcript so they can scan it and get through it. Or other people want exercise. They learn by doing, so they want exercises they're supposed to do along with learning the material. So it's the why, what, how, and what if method of teaching. So
who are your techies? Who actually got in there and did the programming? There's no SaaS with this. It's all plug-in, right?
Yep. Our lead developer who started LifterLMS, his name is Mark Nelson. And then my CTO business partner who does a lot of development with LifterLMS and leads the development team, his name is Thomas Levy. And then we have a group of other developers that help us, as well as a support team.
How do you ever get the money together to do something like this, and develop something like this? You don't do it overnight.
No, it's been a process. I mean, it's been over a year. And like I said, we have an already successful client services business. We're fully bootstrapped. We didn't take funding. We did that intentionally. And so we did take profit from our client services to help, fund the product. And then we had our first group who bought the LifterLMS in the early days. We called them the LifterLMS VIPs. So they took a bet on us, and we still give them great service and discounts and everything like that. But, we did pre-sell the idea to make sure that there was enough demand for it that we could actually it was worth our time to invest. So we approached it very scientifically in that way.
Okay. One last thing I'm going to get into here. Let me pull my little notes here. That's not, what I use for my notes on my thing. I've got like gazillions of notes. I just use the regular notes after Apple Notes, Apple Mac, the Apple Notepad.
Right.
1,500 notes. So I pull it up, I sort it. So e-commerce services, I put this down. All the things, this is just some of the stuff that you have to understand to make money with a product. Now you could do the training, create the training for your brokerage without worrying about e-commerce. But here's some of the things. E-commerce, okay. You need somewhat of a custom e-commerce website.
Right.
You need a responsive shopping cart website. Security management. Security management is the first thing I tell all business people. I tested last year trying to do an intro course for business people so they could understand how to go out and hire a team for their company to create their website, things like that.
Okay.
And because a lot of business guys do not want to know the nuts and bolts, but they need to know the basics. So they need to know how to do a blog. They need to know security and protecting their domain. That's the most important thing. And I promote LastPass. So anyway, shopping. Okay. Security management, domains and passwords. That's the course in itself. Shopping cart development, payment gateway integration. That's really hard. I've got Infusionsoft. Oh my gosh. I would not recommend that to anybody until they're making $10,000 and can hire a partner.
Right.
It's something you don't learn on your own.
No, it's not easy.
No, a lot of people get it. They have it for a while and they leave. Payment gateway, membership website. And we didn't even talk about that. Now you have the membership built in to your plugin.
Yeah, that's like the short elevator pitch is LifterLMS makes it easy to create, sell, and protect engaging online courses. So the membership is that protect part. We actually have our own built-in e-commerce system, so you don't have to get a third-party cart.
I've been going through your courses. I did not realize that. So what are you charging on the e-commerce? Are you for your integration?
Oh, it's free. I mean, it's
about 3.5%. Like, is it? There's a fee for.
It's not a gateway. Like out of the box, you can sell your courses or memberships, which is groups of courses, with PayPal, and all that you can do completely free without paying a penny. You're just going to pay your PayPal fees.
And PayPal has a new service too. They changed the name. It's still PayPal, but forgot. They just started out a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
I'm not sure if I've seen that.
It's brand new. It's by PayPal, and it more is like Stripe. Just hit, but it's probably just PayPal, modified.
Right.
Credit card. So, membership website, LMS, learning management system. So I'm just saying you need those things. Now you got learning management system. Now I put brick and mortar business because it can work both ways for them. And you need to put a team together with developers, designers, and marketers. This is just some of my notes. But think of those things you have to know. You have to understand WordPress somewhat. And you can learn WordPress in a weekend with like WP 101 and help, getting set up.
Yeah.
And you can learn security in a day. You can play with LastPass. But what I'm finding is executives don't even want to take a weekend. Maybe a weekend retreat would be good for these guys. Just lock them up in some place and say, bring your laptops. We're going to set up. We're going to do this. You ever do that?
Awesome. Yeah, we've actually talked about one of the things we're discussing is doing a Lifter Live thing where you kind of come in for a weekend and you leave with your course done, including creating the course.
That's hard. That's good.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is don't take a big bite initially. I'm just doing the $5 Blab course. I'm going back now as opposed to the Netcasting 101. Let's see, elements of and then the marketing. Then the marketing separate. How you market your product. You mentioned earlier the best ways to market.
Hey guys, I got Chris. I'm gonna call in and get a hold of you. Bill, always good seeing you guys. I got to jump. I have a broker store I got to get out to.
Good for you.
Okay.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
And I'll let you get out of here, Chris. And if anybody else wants to come up, it's good to. But I'm going to make you a guest right now. Have you been on Blab very much?
Not a lot, a little bit.
Let me make you a host. And just remind me, I've got to kick you off so it closes it down. So what'll happen is it'll give you an email of a nice little email format, and it'll load this show on your Blab site.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, so you're up in Montana. Oof. Where in Montana?
Whitefish, right next to Glacier National Park.
I know where Whitefish is. My dad's family's from Great Falls. One of my great uncles was a professor at Bozeman, and art was a professor of the art at Bozeman. It's nice. So you come down this direction very often?
I am getting ready. You said you're in California?
Reno.
We are getting ready to actually go. One of the reasons I do this kind of work is because the location independent thing. Like I mentioned, we spent a winter in Costa Rica a little while ago. We're actually getting ready to hit the road with a travel trailer. I'll still be working and running the business from the road, but we're going to be doing all kinds of traveling around the Southwest here in a little bit.
You have kids?
Yeah, 2 little girls, 3 and 5.
Oh, 3 and 5. So they're basically, you can still travel with them a little bit until they get to school. And
yeah.
I got girls in high school now, so it's real critical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think if someone wanted to monetize? The quickest way for them to monetize, what would you do right now if you had to monetize? Do something, some kind of online training, education.
I would just make sure there's a good niche for it, and then and go for it.
And timing is everything too.
Timing, yeah. Timing is definitely everything. And what we recommend is a process called piloting. So before you even really invest in the learning management technology and the online course, you basically put up a sales page, like a lead page or whatever, and you do what we call the concierge service. So you create a course, or you create a framework that's like a course, but then you kind of do it live, either in group and then one-on-one with like a small group of like 5 to 20 people. They have to buy it. That's going to prove there's market demand. And then as you go through it with those people on like a weekly schedule or whatever, you are gut checking, or you're scientifically checking all your assumptions, so that when it does come time to create the evergreen course, you've actually like tested it with real people. And maybe you'll go passive and do video and not have the live thing, but it's really important to pilot the course.
Yeah, we just had something called caucuses in Nevada. And I'm from California originally, and I'm prior to 9/11, I was big into politics, local politics. And by the way, politics is one of my passions, and just the process of how people get elected in the systems. I think there's some places here for it too. But I basically started a streaming video company, but it was not to do the streaming video, but teach people how to do it. And with Google Hangouts and a $80 little camera and a MacBook or a laptop, you can stream almost anything. And if you hook that to a mixer into the PA system, like on the casinos, we've been getting amazing sound and decent audio and pictures. But my idea is to teach them how to do it. But a lot of people just don't pick up on that. And they'd rather have some professional come in and use grant money from the state and record it, because you know how easy it is to stream now. We're streaming now.
Yeah.
You can stream on this platform in a casino if you wanted to. Have people come live and answer questions and have the camera on the speaker just hooked in with the mixer. I've done that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is hard, but I approached one of the parties here, said, this caucus is kind of hard to figure out. More people don't understand what it's all about. And it is very different than a primary. Yeah. Why don't you make some training? So they did training, but they didn't record any of their training. I said, what? Why don't you record your training or just make some? They're just not there yet. People, I think in the next cycle, people understand there'll be good ways to train. And I think it'll be professionals.
That's part of the thing with the technology is like, with online courses, for example, like it's not new information to people learning how to code and develop with computer programming languages. The universities, community colleges, they couldn't keep up. You can learn how to code online. You've been able to do that for like years.
Oh yeah, they can.
So many other niches where this is all like new information.
You could literally stream for virtually free every classroom live while the class is going on. So if a student's sick or can't come in or wants to rewatch it, but they don't do it. I mean, it wouldn't cost. It costs so little compared, because developing content is where the cost is. It's not the streaming and recording and stacking it somewhere where you can find it. Yeah,
that's a commodity now. So
what's that?
I'm just saying,
education
like, technology is easy now. So like You're right. The expense is creating the content. It's the experience, to have the expertise. That's where the real cost is.
One of my last assignments in the military, I went back in and I led PhDs into Afghanistan. The military sent me back to school in anthropology. I had to do oral interviews and I got to meet all these professors. I'll tell you what, some of these PhDs and older professors in the universities I worked with, they couldn't do a PowerPoint presentation.
Right.
Their
so got the clear thing marker.
Their assistant couldn't do a PowerPoint. They tried, and it was like, I mean, it was so bad. Now the military has been really good about PowerPoints and presentations. They've cutting edge because they have a little team. They'll have a training team around. But anyway, hey, when we come back, I guess on the 5th, I just found that out. By the way, if you go to my second oldest website, that's Timelines of Success. I post that there.
Okay.
There's a lot of shortcuts to get there. It's not my best. I've got 3 different platforms. I got DigitalOcean too. It's
nice,
which is pretty powerful, and that's my money site that I'm trying to develop. I got SiteGround and I have Bluehost, because what I would do is I experimented like you did last year. Went out locally to the community and offered this online local sit around the table and set people up to do their first blog and hosting and security. But I found that a lot of people did give up. They didn't follow through. And to me, it's not very hard to do a blog.
Right.
And just get some of the tools down. It's just difficult getting people motivated and going. I think that's the other side.
Yeah, to get started.
Have you looked at I've looked at the netcasting, podcasting areas. Have you looked at John Lee Dumas, Pat Flynn, those guys?
Oh yeah. I think Joshua, my business partner, he went through Podcaster's Paradise, and that's a great successful course. That's an example of like somebody who did a course.
I looked at the I've not bought Podcaster's Paradise. I wish I would have. It was $200 when I first started paying attention, when we first started it. This time was right. I would have for $200 in a heartguheat.
Yeah, there's a lesson in that on pricing, like how to price, from the early days.
Hey, closing, how do you price courses? What do you think? You guys are
I'm a value-based pricing guy. So what I say is whatever you're promising, you should price. Your course should deliver 10 times the value in a year. Mm-hmm. So if I'm teaching you how to be a better real estate agent, if I charge $100 for that, I'm saying you should get at least $1,000 of value in the first year. And of course, you're trying to go for 100 times value. So really what I'm saying is, if you take my $100 real estate training course, you should get $10,000, which depending upon your market it's going to help you close two or three houses.
And you can easily do that if it gives you an idea to get 2 more listings.
Right.
My wife had a heyday. She went to this caucus thing, and we were figuring her out, and she came late, and I went early, and I came back with her. And you go by precincts. You go into school, and then you go by every room was a precinct. So you got to know your neighbors right on line. And she got like 3 leads from being at the caucus, just talking to people. And it was politics too, which isn't supposed to mesh with business.
That's funny. Yeah, that's cool.
It was the same party. Anyway, I appreciate it. Looking forward to come back. When I come back, any advice to me where I should go? I've looked at your training. Is your training still available? I've got the links to it, I think. You had a series of online training for Lifter?
Yeah, there's a bunch. There's a pop-up when you go to LifterLMS.com that gives you 3 course blueprints. We've got our demo course at demo.lifterlms.com that shows you how the tool works.
Do you have the ability to write those down in notes and they'll stay here in the bottom? You see the bottom of them? I don't know if you've used this platform before. If you just type down there under send a message, you either drop in the website link. I think I've got a few. Let me see if I can find some. I've got Lifter MLS. Let me see. I think I got the demo course here. Is that me? Did that? So that was weird. I hit on my note. I hit the button and it hot the link. I think this is. Look at this. Is this your course right here? Is that the one you're talking about? Demo Lifter.
Yeah, that's it right there. So
is that the first course to take?
Yeah, it just kind of shows you the tool. And if you're really looking for real estate, I would just check out that LifterLMS.com/real estate.
Yeah, I found that. And here's the docs, like the PDF.
Yeah.
And see, I couldn't make it to your course. You guys kicked me out, wouldn't accept me into your course.
I remember Joshua saying there was a couple of people who didn't look like they put a lot of effort into their yeah, I mean,
I'll talk to Ron. I'll get what I can for Ron too, because Ron's excited.
Yeah.
Here's my goal. How long do you think it'll take me to build the $5 blab course. You think that's stupid doing a $5 blab course?
I think it's smart that you're charging for it.
Yeah.
The price sounds a little low, but
it was Ron's idea on that one. The idea is like a lead magnet that you at least pay for.
Well, that's not bad. I mean, it just depends on your strategy. If you're going to have the Blab Masterclass 2.0, then maybe make it free or cheap like that. But
actually, Netcasting 101 is next, which goes into YouTube, Blab, podcasting. Basically, you can learn to podcast. I don't think you have to spend $1,500 to learn a podcast.
Uh-huh.
But it's if you want to go past that, though, have the marketing and all that, that's the tough part, I think.
Yeah, I think some courses are a little expensive. Like the $1,000, the $2,000 course, you better, if you're going to charge that much. I mean, back in the day, internet marketers would kind of do stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I think, and there you can create that much value, but I'm just really sensitive on the pricing issue. Like you better be, they better be able to get 10 grand in a year of value out of that if you're going to charge that much money.
You know what we've done, that's what the pricing is really. See, I mean, you see some of these online trainers and people. We're talking about that charging a lot of money. I mean, I've seen a guy dump $17,000. I guarantee you didn't get tenfold in that.
Yeah, and if you have a live component like a weekly mastermind call or one-on-one, your stuff is going to be worth a lot more. It's everybody, or not everybody, but you can chase the passive income thing and like have this course that makes money while you sleep. But you got to be careful on like how much you charge for that. And, you got to know your market. Does your market have funds? If they're beginners, you might not want to have a premium price. But if they're like people who already have successful businesses, trying to go from 100,000 to 1 million or 1 million to 10 million, that's a totally different market. And you want it to be expensive and exclusive and maybe not get too many people in there or whatever. So
that's a different one that you got to just, like you said, what you did on your course, which I thought is very admirable, is you kicked me out.
Yeah.
Which was good. You didn't take my money. You didn't take my $1,000.
Right.
We're sort of probing on the backside.
Yeah.
And most people would.
I do. I appreciate that. And to that note, I do recommend like an application process, which helps, make sure you keep your quality or whatever your goals are.
I think it's something other than the $5 course is do have the right fit, because a lot of people trying to get into podcasting only maybe they say 7% make a little bit of money off their shows, but I think it's more like 3% to tell the truth.
Yeah.
I know Rob Welch from Lipson and some other key people been pretty active in the community, but it is, you've got to get the website down. Hey, don't gag too much, but Mike Sheen and I, we're actually, it's a positive and probably not a good name to use, but we did the weeklyscam.com.
Okay.
But we actually have, talked about phishing. We talk about insecurity, and then we try to give some kind of clue where you start getting going and what you do right. And we're going to talk about a coach in this next cycle.
Oh, that's cool.
We're trying it Friday night, which is a little bit different. But hey, I want to thank you. So when we come back, I'll have done those courses, and hopefully I'll get the $5 course up and probably be asking you, where do we go from here? Because I guess next month
I'd love to have you on our podcast about because blabbing and podcasting is a powerful tool, and it can help like we have a podcast, LMS cast, for education entrepreneurs. That's what we call our target market. But having a podcast around your business, whether that's an online course business or some other kind of business, is a great idea. So we'd love to have you on the show and talk.
I appreciate that. Same here, and get you guys back on. Get as many on your team. I'm going to probably stop doing the day. We do a lot of shows. I do 7 shows. And I've done a lot of A/B testing, experimenting, trying to go like on this show. This is for real estate, but I stuck in that little segment of timelines, which is your background and history and all this and that. But it does take a lot of time. Yeah, if who does your editing on your podcast?
Who does do that? We have somebody who does editing. We have somebody who does transcription. I think it's a subcontractor. I believe his name is Brody.
Yeah. So you contract it out. It'll take me 2 hours to take that make a 25-minute clip.
I have the dream situation with our podcast, LMS Cast. I show up, Joshua and I talk about something, and then that's it. Everything else is like a system that we have built. I mean, that system costs money to run, but it works for us because we just don't have the time to edit.
I meant to have Greg in here. Here's the latest. Here's the open secret that we always talk about. We'll see if Jonathan watches the show. Jonathan's got several sites and they've got dashes in between them, like mail-right.com, wp-tonic.com. He doesn't know this, but he gives me a hard time for owning too many domains, and I've got my own reseller account that is a separate company. And you learn the tricks, how to search stuff and track stuff and find stuff. Look at this. He doesn't know I have that. Click it.
Yeah. Let's see what we got. Oh, it redirects to your timeline of success.
Self-proclaimed Twitter nerd. 5 tweets.
That's funny.
So it's actually going to WP Tonic's podcast.
Okay.
But I put the code in there to do an automatic load feed on the site. I just want to see how long it takes him to figure that out. I do usually mention at the end of the show. He's pretty busy. He developed a SaaS product, and I tell you what, I don't think I'd want to develop a SaaS product.
It's challenging.
I think you're playing. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it, Chris. What's the rest of your day look like as I let you go?
Oh, just more work, talking to more customers, marketing stuff. I'm interviewing somebody new for our team, just all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's good. Well, if you get down this way, give me a yell. If you get through, Reno's a gorgeous place. I mean, I'm 5,000 feet backside of the Sierras, and great hiking. Fishing used to be a lot better, but we had a drought and we destroyed a lot of our fisheries, but it's going to come back.
All right. Well, sounds great, Bill. Thanks for having me on the show.
I'm going to let you go. I'm going to kick you off because I made you a host. Here, you want a quick lesson in it real fast? Refresh once, and I'll show you. Let's see what happens and come back.
Refresh my browser?
You just hit the refresh button on your browser. It's called